Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my book corner because I literally film a book video every single time in this exact spot. Also, it is kind of like storming outside right now, so if you guys can hear the thunder, that's what that is. But anyways, I have been in my romance era of reading, so I thought it would be fun to make a video talking about all of the romance books that I have read lately, specifically I would say within the past year. But I have really loved all of these books. I think a lot of these books would be great for summer. I keep looking over here because my books are sitting right here. I literally have so many to talk about with you guys today. But I think a lot of these books would be great for summer, and there's definitely a book here for every single age group. So I hope that you guys will like this and get a good old recommendation. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe below if you are new here. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. Starting with a book I think everyone would love, and this could be for any age group. It is called The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I actually think this is not a very popular book. I don't see a lot of people recommending it or talking about it, but I really loved it. This author, she is so nice. I actually messaged her after I finished reading the book to tell her how much I loved it, and she was just so appreciative and truly the sweetest girl. But I love this book. This book is filled with Taylor Swift references, so if you love Miss Taylor just like I do, I think you will really appreciate this book. This book actually takes place over a summer. It is about a girl named Meredith. Her and her family go to Martha's Vineyard every single year, but this year when they go back, they're actually going back for her cousin Sarah's wedding. Also, her sister Claire had passed away within the last, I think, year. It says 18 months ago. Meredith is just kind of dealing with the loss of her sister, so that's just something to keep in mind if you want to read this book. They definitely, talk about grief and just mourning the loss of a close family member. But this book, I think it's just literally like a Visco girl summer. It's like my dream summer, honestly. I was absolutely obsessed with it. I love the relationship and the romance that develops in here. During this time that they are there for the wedding, her and her family actually play this big game of assassin. And one of the things I really love about this book is the fact that she has such a big family, because personally, I don't have a big family, so it was just really fun to, read about that. But during this assassin game, Meredith teams up with this groomsman named Whit, and they are just basically trying to win the game, and it's just really fun, and they develop this sweet little romance, and it's just so cute. Also, I forgot to mention, there is a Spotify playlist that goes with this book. I will link it down below if you are interested. I was so obsessed. I listened to the whole playlist, and it was really a vibe. So definitely check out this book. Moving into more books that take place during the summer. Oh, this is actually wrong. I have to talk about this. This is the Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy. I read that recently. The show just came out and I watched it and I'm obsessed with it. I have to show you guys the merch that I didn't need that I bought because I was so obsessed. It says Cousins Beach on it, and that's where the story takes place. Although this says North Carolina, and I don't know if that's actually accurate. I think Cousins Beach, it's a fictional place, but I think it actually is supposed to be Massachusetts, so I don't really know, but I still really like it. I think it's super cute. Anyway, this is a trilogy. It's written by Jenny Han. She is the same author that wrote the To All the Boys I Loved Before series. I actually have a whole entire YouTube video where I talk about my thoughts on this book series. I will link it up here if you guys want to go check it out. But these books are so cute. I really like the show too. The show is a little bit different than the books because the books do not have a debutante plotline in it. But I really like the changes that they actually made in the show because I think it needed to have some change, especially to be written for television. But I think all of the people that played all the characters did such a good job. It was literally spot on. Let me know in the comments if you were Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah. But anyways, I didn't even talk about the plot about these books yet. So this is called The Summer I Turned Pretty. It is a book about Belly. She's our main character, and her family go to this place called Cousins Beach. Like I said, I think it's in Massachusetts. They go back every year with her mom's best friend, Susanna. And Susanna, she has her two boys, Conrad and Jeremiah. And Belly is absolutely obsessed with Conrad since she has been this little child and just had a crush on him. There comes a time where there is a love triangle between her and Jeremiah, and it's just a really cute summer read. And let me tell you, you will think this is like a nice, innocent little book, but it will make you cry by the end. One of the main characters has cancer, so in the second book, it talks a lot about grief and, you know, dealing with the loss of a loved one, so that's something to keep in mind. My favorite book out of this whole series was definitely number 3, We'll Always Have Summer. And I just think these books are so cute, especially for summer. They take place on the beach actually, and I just really love all of the relationships between the characters and just the family dynamic, and it's just so cute. Moving into another book that takes place on the beach. This is called Beach Read by Emily Henry. I know a lot of you guys probably already know about this book because it was very famous on TikTok, but if you haven't read it yet, I think this would be a good one to add to your list. I rated this 4.5 stars on Goodreads. It took me a while to get into it. I didn't really get into it until I was about halfway, but the character development in here was really good. It's very much so a rom-com. This is a book about books, so if you like that kind of a trope, I think this would be perfect for you. Both of our main characters, they are authors. January, which is the main female lead, she's just been going through everything in her life. Her dad passes away and ends up leaving her this beach house, and she goes there to get out of her writer's block. And then she finds out that her neighbor is actually her enemy in college, and his name is Augustus, and he writes historical fiction. She writes romance. I don't know if I said that before. But basically they reconnect and they challenge each other to write a book on each other's genres. And I think this was a very much I'm not going to fall in love with you, but I end up doing it anyways kind of book. But the character development in here was really good. January is very witty, quirky, funny. There's a lot of sarcasm that goes on between the two. The romance in here is a slow burn. There's so much tension in here. And there are a couple of steamy chapters, like really steamy chapters at the end of this book. So it's just something to keep in mind. So I would say this is definitely high school, like 16, 17 years of age and older, just because of the theme. But if you want, I think it's easy to skip over those sections of the book. There's also Taylor Swift references in here, which I really liked. And I would say it's like college friends to lovers. There is a lot of like dealing with grief and stuff. There's some cheating in here. And I think if you like sarcasm and just need a good rom-com in your life, this would be a great book to add to your TBR. Moving away from books that take place in summer, this is kind of an odd man out of the group in this video, I think. But this is The Song of Achilles, written by Miss Madeline Miller. Everybody recommends this book, and they recommend it for a reason. So if you have not read it yet, I think you definitely need to read it. Something that everyone should read. And I didn't know anything about this book going into it, except for the fact that it is a Greek retelling about the hero Achilles. So this book actually takes place at the time when Helen of Sparta is kidnapped. And I think just the whole setting and everything really intrigued me because I don't know a lot about like the Greek gods and stuff. I think it's just like a really fun thing to read about. But this is the story about how Achilles is basically called to go to war to get Helen back. And it's about his relationship specifically with his friend Patroclus. And it does take place over a couple years of time. I would say that this book would be more for a mature and older audience, so like 17 years of age and up, just because if I remember correctly, there is a little bit of spice in here. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it's just such a powerful, tragic, and just really heartbreaking, beautiful story. Moving into the more steamy and mature books, I have to put this right here, Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This was the second Colleen Hoover book that I read, and let me tell you, it does not disappoint. I cried at the end. I made my mom read it and she cried, so it's just something I think everybody recommends, and they recommend it for a reason. So you definitely need to pick this up. There's a lot of spice in here, so I would say this is definitely for more of like a college-aged audience. But the romance in here and just the story in general is incredible. Our main characters are Tate and Miles. Miles is actually a friend of Tate's brother, so this would be like a brother's friend to lovers kind of trope. He is a he's a pilot and she is a nurse. And everything about this book, I love it. And also, I'm gonna throw this in right here because we're on the subject of Colleen Hoover, and I feel like she has just been popping off recently. I already have this. I have not read this yet. It is called It Ends With Us. This is a very famous book. I'm going to be doing a reading vlog of this soon, so be sure to subscribe if you want to watch me read this for the first time. I'm very excited. I have very high expectations for this book. I literally got my hair done today and my hair just was like You need to read it. When you start, you will not want to stop. And that's how I felt about this book, because I think I read it in like 2 days. I just did not want to put it down. It was very easy to read. And I just need to get into more Colleen Hoover. If you like romance, she is like really good. She's just been popping off on TikTok right now with all of her books. I think another good one my hairdresser said was Reminders of Him. She said that was the best one, and I have not read that yet, so I'm also adding that to my list. But yeah, I would definitely put these on your romance TBR. And now we're getting to the book that is, this is like a big deal, you guys. Like, this is probably my top 2. Like, aside, okay, so my number 1 is my Acotar series, which I was gonna talk about. I guess I'll talk about that now. This is a very steamy romance, fantasy romance series. This is written by Sarah J. Maas. There are 5 books. I have all 5 of them, but I'm not going to get them all out, because if you are going to read this series, you need to read the first 2. I have an entire video on my channel where I go in great detail of everything you need to know before you want to read the acotar series. And acotar is a court of thorns and roses. This is the first book that I will link up here if you haven't seen it yet. But this is my all-time favorite series. It is literally so good. And before you guys ask, yes, I am going to be reading the Throne of Glass books. I already read the first one. One of my friends is borrowing it right now, but I've just been in my romance era and I haven't been wanting to read fantasy books. So I have just had that on the back burner, and I also need to purchase all of them. But this is an incredible story. So much world development, so much character development. Feyre, she goes through a lot. She's the main character in here, and like, I even like bought merch for this, you guys. The writing here is phenomenal. Like, you will be addicted to this if you read this. I cannot recommend it enough. This is my all-time favorite romance fantasy series. Besides acotar, this is a book that I absolutely loved. I recommend it to all of my friends. It's so good. It's called The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This book, it lives up to the hype. This was another TikTok famous book. But this is like academic rivals to lovers. It takes place at a college. Our main character, it's been a while since I read this. Her name is Olive. There's fake dating between her and this professor. His name is Adam Carlson. This was another like, I'm not gonna fall in love with you kind of book, but end up falling for each other anyways in the end. And I just love this so much. It is a true rom-com. There's a lot of steam in here though, so that's something to keep in mind. But I would say this is definitely for a more mature audience. But I just loved every single thing about this book. Like, pure serotonin. Pure serotonin. If, as you guys can see, because I'm literally smiling right now, I think I read this in like 3 or 4 days, and I think that's being generous, because I honestly did not want to put it down. I would definitely reread this, just like I would definitely reread acotar, and I love everything about it. So that is all of the books that I wanted to share with you guys today. I also wanted to show you what I am planning to read next for my romance books. I already talked about It Ends With Us, but this is a book that Haley Pham, actually, I get a lot of my book recommendations from her. If you guys don't know who she is, I will link her channel down below. This is a book that she loves and is obsessed with. This is called Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is another rom-com, and I just heard it's so good. I can actually read the little inside cover for you guys, because I honestly don't really know what it's about. But I heard that it's really good, so I bought it, and it was like sold out for such a long time, and that's how you know it's a good book. But this says, Liz Buxbaum has always known that Wes Bennett was not boyfriend material. You would think that her next door neighbor would be a prime candidate for her romantic comedy fantasies, but Wes has only proven himself to be a pain in the butt ever since they were little. Wes was the kid who put a frog in her Barbie dream house, the monster who hid a lawn gnome's severed head in her little homemade neighborhood book exchange. Flash forward 10 years from the great gnome decapitation. It's Liz's senior year, a time meant to be rife with milestones, perfect for any big screen, and she needs Wes's help. See, Liz's forever crush, Michael, has just moved back to town, and horribly, annoyingly, he's hitting it off with Wes. Meaning that if Liz wants Michael to finally notice her and hopefully be her prom date, she needs Wes. But as Liz and Wes scheme to get Liz her magical prom moment, she's shocked to discover that she actually likes being around Wes. And as they continue to grow closer, she must re-examine everything she thought she knew about love and rethink her own perception of what happily ever after should really look like. I already know I'm just gonna eat this up, so I thought I would definitely mention that in this video, even though I haven't read it yet. And even look at the cover, like he's literally holding up a boom box. Are you kidding me? But that is it for the book recommendation. So I hope that you guys are at least able to get 1 or 2 new books to add to your TBR. These ones are all gems. I love them so much, and I'm so excited to read the ones that I told you guys about. Let me know if you guys are also in your romance era. Let me know any really good books that you have read recently that you want me to check out. I hope that you guys are having a great day wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.